Boston Celtics win at home. Jayson Tatum backs up his words. Kristaps Porzingis battles Victor Wembanyama. The Celtics rebound like crazy. We even saw Tory Craig, and it's all right now on the Locked On Celtics podcast.
Yup. Being down, be ever ready. Recognize the city of champs. Back to back, if I say it, it's stamped. Locked on number 19, the best one, the next one. Juice loose in your pool now for the next run. It's the C's, who else could it be? What they gon' say now? Screaming like JT, Karalis, recap the madness. Every game, every practice. Best daily pod, no cap like Brad Beckett. Clutch like Drew to KP, tap in daily. Prime time, dapping D White on the sideline. Raining J's, how it started, raising banners, how we finished. Locked on Celtics pod, home of the winners.
Hey there, welcome back to the Locked On Celtics podcast right here on the Locked On Podcast Network. It is your team every day. I got you covered every Monday through Friday with a free podcast that drops directly to your favorite podcasting app whenever you subscribe to the show. You could also watch the show on YouTube, get into the comment section there, join your fellow Celtics fans, and have some fun with the podcast. I'm John Karalis. If you're new to the show, I am covering the Celtics for Boston Sports Journal. I'm there. I'm talking to the players. I'm talking to Joe Mazzulla. I've been covering this team for about 20 years now, so I'm giving you a little bit of an inside look. If you're new to the show, hopefully you enjoy the perspective that I'm giving you. All right, let's get to this game where the Celtics get the big 116-103 win, closer than it probably should have been, could have been. The Celtics did turn the ball over a bunch, giving up, 22 points off of turnover, 22 points off 17 turnovers. So this game could have been a little bit more decisive. The Celtics also, Jayson Tatum didn't shoot great from three, 4 of 14. Derek White was 3 of 11. Peyton Pritchard was 2 of 10. So 13-point win minus some turnovers plus some made shots. And we're looking at a potential blowout here. So some of the stuff they could control, some of it they couldn't. All of it is to say a comfortable win at home. Jayson Tatum backs up his words. I've talked about this already in the podcast, but if you missed it after the Miami game, he talked specifically about, how much the Celtics have been disappointing at home, and they're winning on the road because partly they felt the need to make up for some of the stuff they've lost at home, which, I think is a little bit of an overstatement by Jayson Tatum, but regardless, he said it. And we said on yesterday's podcast with Tom Westerholm that there's no way that Tatum could say what he said about being disappointing and, we owe it to the fans and all of that stuff. There's no way they could come out and be slow, lazy, come out flat. They just could not let that happen. And to their credit, they did not. They came out to a decent lead. The Spurs made a little bit of a run. They cut it to 1. And then the Celtics went on a 21-4 run. So they're up 18 after the first quarter. They outscored the Spurs 37-19. Now, the Celtics were hitting shots early on. The Spurs were not. They were decidedly not hitting shots. 1 of 11 in the first quarter. They were 3 of 21 in the first half. The Celtics were 13 of 34 from 3 in the first half. So even though they got a little sloppy in the second quarter and started, that's where their run of turnovers started. They were still up 19. They got up by as many as 24. And then from there, yeah, sure, Spurs made a run. KP, Derek White hit 3-pointers. Was it Derek White or Peyton Pritchard? Peyton Pritchard, I think it was, that hit the 3-pointer. But they hit it, so it dipped to 8. Those two hit the 3-pointers, went back up to 14. It was never below double digits again. And so nice, easy. Like I said, comfortable win, exactly what it should be. Not perfect, but and Tatum was right when he said this last game for the All-Star break has been a problem for them in the past. They have dropped these games before. You remember losing to the Pistons in the last game before the All-Star break. They definitely take this day off mentally. So, and maybe without Jaylen and without Drew Holiday and no Xavier Tillman either, they were shorthanded. Maybe that helped their focus a little bit, but whatever it was, they came out strong. They did what they're supposed to do. Celtics get the big win. That's nice. So everybody feels a little bit better. No playing down to an inferior opponent at home. You end up going into the break up. Winners of 7 of their last 8, 10 of their last 13. They are now 39-16. And just by contrast, the Celtics, February 12th, 2024, they were 41-12. So 39-16 versus 41-12. That 64-win team, I think, is the 4th best record in Celtics history. So I think asking the Celtics to improve on that might have been a bit much, considering that is a lot of wins and not many teams have ever won more than 64 games. There are fewer teams that have won more than 64 games than that have won less than 64. So point is, probably should have expected the Celtics to take a couple of steps back. And like I said before, they were 21-6 in their first 27 games. They got 27 games left. If they go 21-6 in their last 27 games, they're a 60-win team. So they still are right there with an opportunity to be really just finish with a 60 wins. That's 60 wins is the magic number, and the Celtics have a chance to do that. I think this stretch of 7 wins in 8 games and 10 of their last 13, I hope that puts people at ease. I hope people can take a breath and say, okay, whatever happened in December, in early January, that is gone. We can maybe look at it with some perspective and say, it's not so bad. It wasn't so bad. Think of it as like a breakup. You know, how many of us have been in like multiple relationships? I mean, look, I'm divorced. I'm on my second marriage. So I've been through what felt like, you know, the worst, and you go through it. And then afterwards you're like, no, actually this worked out. It worked out fine. It sucked in the moment, but you get past it. We've all been through breakups and relationships and that type of thing. We've been in situations. Maybe it's not a relationship. Maybe it's a work thing or something else, where in the moment you feel like, oh my God, this really sucks. And then after time passes, you go, well, it wasn't great. It wasn't great, but you know, it wasn't really as bad as I was making it out to be back then. It really ended up working out fine. So of course, this depends on how the Celtics finish the season, but I think we're trending in that way where we look back on that stretch and say, okay, not so bad. So strong finish. The Celtics did what they were supposed to do. I remember Jaylen Brown said, you want to finish this thing out strong, and they did. So, you know, kudos to them. Jayson Tatum continues rolling along. Like Jayson has been, he had 32 in this game. So he had 32. He had 33 the game before, and then 40 against New York. So he's rolling. One of the questions that came up on the NBC Sports Boston post game was, is this Jayson Tatum's best stretch of basketball in his career? It's worth exploring. Let's explore that together when I come back. Today's show is brought to you by Wayfair. I've been saying that my wife and I, Wayfair is a very strongly represented in my house. And it's a great way to give your house like a little TLC, a little refreshing. Maybe the post holidays, or maybe as you head into spring. This is a great time. Now it's the middle of February. March is around the corner. April, not too far away. This is a great time to go to wayfair.com and start looking around. Go around your house, look around, think about what you might want to clean up, what might need to change, what might need a new coat of paint. And if you put a new coat of paint, then, hey, there's maybe a little new furniture there. The best part about Wayfair is you have something for basically any style, any budget. So even if you're on a little bit of a, if money's a little tight, you still want to refresh, there's a good chance you go to Wayfair and you can find anything you need all within your budget. The free, hassle-free delivery, even for large items, is very convenient. The site is super easy to navigate. You can find everything you need in no time. So what'll happen with me and my wife is we'll just text each other links about what about this? What about that? What about this? What about that? And it's a nice little activity, shopping together and figuring out how you want to make this work. Give your home the refresh that it needs with Wayfair. Head to Wayfair.com right now. That's Wayfair, WAYFAIR.com. Wayfair, every style, every home. Thank you for making Locked On Celtics your first listen every day. Please subscribe to the new Celtics newsletter. Locked On Celtics has a newsletter. Go to LockedOnDaily.com, LockedOnDaily.com. Click on that Locked On Celtics logo, subscribe to the Locked On Celtics newsletter, and then every day, Monday through Friday, in your inbox, you'll be emailed a newsletter with Celtics, NBA, and fantasy coverage, links to great Celtics content around the internet. And if you happen to not listen to a podcast on a particular day, maybe you've been, kidnapped or something, and you've managed to escape days later, and you've missed a few. I can't imagine any other reason why you would miss a podcast, but say you have, you can open up this email and get a good synopsis and a written version of a lot of the things that I've said on this podcast. So check it out. LockedOnDaily.com. Click on that Locked On Celtics logo. So Jayson Tatum had a pretty good game. 32 points, 14 rebounds, 7 assists. Is this the best basketball Tatum is playing in his career? Hard to say that it's the best, but the argument is there, not just because of his scoring, but the 14 rebounds, he's rebounding like a monster, and that's picked up over recent years. The 7 assists is the number. That's the big one. Tatum's ability to see the floor, read the game, it's at an incredible level right now. And I go back to the third quarter against Miami, where I broke it down on Boston Sports Journal. I knew watching it the first time around, this is really good, which is why I decided, I think tonight I'm going to break this down. I'm going to do a little video session. And then when I got into the nitty gritty of the video, I was like, man, this is even better than I realized. And it is different. There is something different about what Tatum is doing right now. His level of aggression, his decisiveness, his just the as I said in yesterday's podcast, the manipulation of the defense, it's at an all-time level for him. And he turns 27 next month, in a few weeks. He turns 27. 27 is the number. 27 is a player's prime, leading up, but 27 is the magic number, magic age. That year is where everything just clicks. For some reason, once you turn 27, I cannot explain it. I know from experience that when I was playing basketball and I was done playing anything competitive other than just going down to men's leagues and stuff, but I can tell you that once you get to 27, I was like, oh my God, I'm doing everything so much easier. I was a ball handler. I was making passes. I was doing all this stuff. I'm like, I was never this good at basketball. I wish I could bottle 27-year-old basketball and bring it back to when I was playing in my early 20s. Where was this? If I'd played like this back then, I might still be pro. So that was something. So imagine being as good as Jayson Tatum and hitting 27. That's secret sauce, man. I don't know what it is about the athlete's body that makes 27 so special, but there it is. He is playing at a different level, and it is incredible to watch. Also incredible to watch Victor Wembanyama, who is just. I was having a conversation with the reporters. He's walking, Al Horford's walking next to him, and there's like this optical illusion happening where Al's a big dude, 6'9". He's a solid guy. He's a large human being, and he standing next to Victor Wembanyama, and all of a sudden I'm like, he looks like he's like 6'3". It doesn't make any sense. He's like huge, and then here comes Victor Wembanyama, and you're like, oh, he's tiny. What happened? Oh no, now he's huge again because Victor Wembanyama stepped out of the way. Wemby is incredible to watch. He blocked a shot. Al drove baseline, went to a wraparound where he's like using the rim as protection. From my angle, I'm like, there's no way Victor's getting to that shot, and he did. Wembanyama hit a shot from like behind the backboard and made it look easy. I will say Wemby looked gassed. He looked super tired in this game. Like, I think I know this is his second year, but like he's hitting a wall or something. I don't know. The Celtics really tried to make him work. They hit him with a lot of picks, and they really tried to wear him out, and it worked. He didn't have a particularly great game, 17 points, 13 rebounds, 4 assists. He did have 2 blocks, but his battle with Porzingis won that battle. 29 points, 6 rebounds and assists for Porzingis, 10 of 16 shooting, 3 of 4 from 3, 6 of 9 from the line, which not great, but the free throw shooting, again, weirdly off for the Celtics. But Porzingis had the 2 plays of the game for me. The top 2 plays of the game, I'd say. Just because the post up on Wembanyama where it was like up fake, then kind of reach around and like flick it in. That was incredible to see him going up and having to use all of these like he's Jalen Brunson out there against Wemby. All of these fakes, and he had a little fist pump afterwards when he made the shot. It's different. It's different going up against Wemby. And then the behind the head pass where he's just like boop to Al Horford. Al Horford is a little bit behind Horford, but he caught it. And Horford turned and whipped the pass to Sam Hauser. Sam Hauser absolutely had to make that shot, and he did. That was, if no one would have forgiven Sam Hauser if he didn't make that shot. He had to. That was an incredible highlight. Porzingis played really, really well. He definitely got the best of Wembanyama, but afterwards, he's like, look, people want to make the comparison because there's, a 7+ footer who shoots from the outside and plays like a guard. And Porzingis was like, he's way more advanced than I was in my second year. So we'll see where Wemby gets, but Porzingis owned this night and did well. And it wasn't just like Porzingis up against Wemby. What ended up the Celtics did, and I was having a conversation with Jeff Garcia of Locked On Spurs, and he made a great point of like the Spurs are supposed to do what the Celtics did with Porzingis, which is get him into advantage situations. They didn't just say, oh, this isn't like 1985 where, hey, Kristaps, you just go post up Wembanyama and just 2 big giant dudes go at each other the whole game. That doesn't make any sense. You get a switch, get Porzingis onto smaller guys. And they did, and he took advantage of it and got to the line 9 times. And it was a really just great performance from Porzingis. So they did have their matchups, him against Wembanyama, but the Celtics find the advantages, and he took advantage of those situations. So Overall, just great performance from Tatum, great performance from Porzingis, great performance from the defense. Al Horford was part of a massive defensive effort against Wembanyama. And the rebounding, I should have, 20 minutes into the show, I should have brought the rebounding up much, much sooner. But the Celtics rebounding was excellent. They out-rebounded the Spurs 56-38. They only gave up 9 offensive rebounds and 6 second chance points. The rebounding was just spectacular. This was exactly the kind of defensive effort, the rebounding effort, and it is effort. That's what it is. When the Celtics are rebounding well, they're playing well, they're winning. That's it. So great stuff. We saw Tory Craig in this game. Let's talk about Tory Craig's debut and how it was kind of perfect in 9 minutes. We'll talk about that when I come back. Thank you for making Locked On Celtics your first listen every day. Go check out Locked On NBA. Locked On NBA Game Night has every game covered every night in the association on Fridays. I am with Jake Madison of Locked On Pelicans. So this is the Thursday show, Thursday night. I will still be watching basketball because after that, after all the games, I will be on Locked On NBA Game Night talking about all the games with Jake. So make sure you're subscribed to that. You'll also get the Locked On NBA afternoon show, which is more of a debate style show covering the big topics in the league. Tory Craig got into this game, played about 9 minutes, 6 points off of 2 block shots, off of 2 3-pointers. He got a block. He got an assist. A nice little tip out to was Peyton Pritchard in the corner. Pritchard or Hauser? One of those guys. Just 9 minutes. Nothing special. A short stint at the beginning. Still working through things. Joe Mazzulla is coaching him up throughout the whole thing, explaining things. But he played really good defense, physical defense, tough hustle, knocking the ball off of Spurs players, stripping it, knocking the ball off of them, forcing a turnover and getting the ball back, playing physical, strong defensive basketball. And, hitting both of your 3-point attempts is good. I recommend to Tory Craig always hitting all of his 3-point shots. If you can hit all of your 3-point shots forever and ever and ever, you'll be fine. It was a good performance. In fact, I would say a perfect performance for him, not just because he was 2 of 2, but this is exactly what you need from a guy like Tory Craig, who is, I think, going to get some real opportunity with the Celtics. I think we can say that he's the O'Shea Brissett replacement that they've always been looking for in a way, but he's better than O'Shea Brissett. And this was a game without Brown and Holiday. So you kind of knew that Craig would get a few minutes, but the defensive performance on top of just making shots, whenever he gets in, that's exactly what you want from him. Bottle that performance from Tory Craig and unleash it whenever he gets these minutes, whenever the opportunities show up. It's really this is really an important element to the Celtics. And I think in his limited time here, he kind of showed the potential of what he can do to stabilize a bench that is generally pretty good, but has its nights where it's not. And I think Craig can come in with his size and versatility and make a strong impact. So I loved what I saw, and I don't want to overreact to 9 minutes of basketball, but you've seen Tory Craig play in the league. This is what he does. And this is a nice kind of, like, if you don't know who Tory Craig is, this was a nice introduction to Celtics fans. So I thought that was really good. Let's go down the box score here and get some other individual performances. Like I said, Al Horford didn't shoot well, 2 of 10 overall, but 10 rebounds, 3 assists, 2 block shots. He was really just tons of energy. The effort was great. Diving like just into the stands to save the ball off of a spur. Just overall, the defensive effort that Al Horford, the strength against Wembanyama, who is a very slight young man and who needs to put on some amount of weight. Like I'm not saying he should go out there and turn into Shaq, but Wembanyama needs to add some weight. He definitely needs to add some muscle to his body. So he's young, he's still growing, and it'll come. For now, a guy like Al Horford, who is big and strong, can muscle Wembanyama around a little bit, and I think that was part of, like, Wemby had 17 points, but didn't shoot well and didn't have a great night overall, and that's partly thanks to Al Horford. Sam Hauser, 4 of 9, 2 of 7 from 3. He got a steal. He was out on the break. He was running the floor. He got notably getting out on the fast break and finishing with a layup and not flaring out to the corners and doing that stuff. And then, his ability to face a closeout, put the ball on the floor, step into a mid-range shot and hit that. That was good too. Like that, beyond the just 3-point shooting, his ability to contribute in other ways was great. Derek White, again, not the best shooting night, 3 of 11 from 3. He had 6 turnovers. That was not good. Couple of them were not the best. They were a little sloppy. So, but aside from the turnovers, this was a classic Derek White game. 19 points, 9 assists, 7 rebounds. Just a beautiful performance from Derek White, other than the turnovers. Guys are a little thrown by Wembanyama, and there were a couple of plays, like a couple of his misses were just like, it kind of felt like, oh crap, I'm here. I've made this commitment, and I didn't realize that Wembanyama was going to be there. And so a couple of rush shots, but just a generally like really good Derek White game. Pritchard hit timely, a couple of timely shots. He still managed to get 4 offensive rebounds, so he makes an impact. 3 assists, not the best night for him, but still finding a way to make an impact. Luke Cornett had one of the plays of the night, which is his only basket, shot 1 of 1, and the one was a loud dunk off of an offensive rebound, one of 3 offensive rebounds that he had. So Luke out there just playing solid defense and making plays and having that one put back, that loud dunk where he screamed at the bench, and it was crazy. It was awesome. Baylor Shireman played 5 minutes. Nothing special, but didn't hurt himself. Like, this is, I'm not looking for the Baylor Shireman who scores a bunch of points in the G League. When he plays, doesn't hurt himself is an important takeaway for Shireman. So that's the look down the box score. Hey, Celtics get a win. They win by 13. They covered an 8.5 point spread. If you're worried about that kind of stuff, they solid game, came out strong, hung on, took a run from the Spurs, got it down to 8, but they handled it. They fired back. They got it back up to, I think, 19 at one point or 18 at one point, and cruised easy. So now the All-Star break is here. Hey, I'm not going anywhere in the All-Star break. I have a podcast for you tomorrow, looking kind of like just a little bit of a look back, and we'll do that. And then trying to line up some special guests to get you going next week. I'll do a mailbag podcast next week. So if you have questions, send them to johnkaralis.com/mailbag. So I'm still here for you 5 days a week, and bonus podcasts when they play on the weekends. So make sure you're subscribed wherever you get your podcasts. Watch the show on YouTube, get into the comment section there, share your thoughts, and then share the podcast. Tell everybody they should be listening to and watching the Locked On Celtics podcast here on the Locked On Podcast Network. Your team every day.